In today's video, I will give a garden update. The date is May 31st, 2022. Let's start on this side of my garden. And this is a side entrance, and what you see in here are different kinds of tomatoes. I have 7 rows with 8 plants each row. So that's a total of 56 tomato plants in this area. This is a side entrance, and we have some string beans growing on this side, as well as some string beans growing on the other side. This is sunflower. This one is a volunteer zinnia. And then right here is bachelor's button. And then we have another bachelor's button. Same thing on the other side because I wanted to make them symmetrical. So we have the bachelor's button, sunflower, and another bachelor's button. This row is intended for my moringa trees, but they're not yet ready to come into the garden. So I have some ranunculus. I'm not sure if I can get a flower from that. Another bachelor's button. And my first time to successfully grow nasturtium. Another bachelor's button and ranunculus. Right here in this corner, we have a bigger sunflower and a bachelor's button right here. This trellis is for my butternut squash. I have planted some, but they haven't started growing yet. And then half of this is for the green bitter melon. And let's take a look at this green bitter melon. Look at that. They are growing so good. We have 6 plants in here, and in the corner or in the end of this trellis we have another sunflower. Now let's take a look at these tomato rows. First row is red cherry, and I just trellised this morning, and as you can see, we have some blooms. There's actually a bunch of flowers already in these plants, which is really amazing. The second row is called the Crimson Sprinter, and these are the red and bigger tomatoes. These are actually really good. Look at that one. They're so healthy. And the next row, right here, one of my favorite. These are the Roma tomatoes. Look at that. Now, this one looks really nice. Right here. And we also have some blooms. I think I have blooms in all of the rows already. Fourth row is the Moneymaker tomato. Look at that one. They are knee-high now. And these are also the slicing tomatoes. And then let's move over to the next row. And these are my San Marzano tomatoes. Goes all the way to the back. I've started trellising it. Just made one row of string. I like doing the Florida weave because it's easier and cheaper at the same time. Next row is Tommy Toe tomatoes. Look at that. For some reasons, some of the leaves are looking weird, but other than that, I mean, these plants are looking really amazing. They're so healthy, and I haven't seen any tomato hornworms yet, which usually comes in here actually like whenever my plants are big. But I planted my tomatoes really early this time because usually the first week of June is the time when I plant my tomatoes in the ground here in Zone 7, Kentucky. But I started to be brave enough and start early. And this is the result. And I can harvest early too. And it's actually a good idea. This one is the purple bumblebee. It's actually a good idea to plant a little bit early because the insects that usually come to destroy my plants are not here yet because they don't come until like mid-June or end of June, early July. This side of the garden is still a little bit empty. I have 4 tomatoes in this row, and these are the blueberry tomatoes. We also have some flowers already in all of these 4 plants. And then we have a couple more rows of some smaller tomatoes. Those are San Marzano tomatoes that I just planted this morning. This area is gonna be all tomatoes. In this corner, we have another sunflower, a bachelor's button, and my one and only Shasta daisy. The next area that I'm showing you is my onion raised bed that is made of a Dollar Tree garden edger and some sticks that I collected from my yard. That empty space right there is where I harvested some. I have used some as green onions, and these are the ones that I'm saving for the bulbs. And look at that one. Bulbs are looking good so far. Now this clear area right here, they also had this area used to have onions, but I had to clean it up to plant some cucumbers. So we just put in some cucumbers yesterday, and the cucumbers is gonna climb up this trellis. And then I like having things symmetrical, and so here on the other side I also planted some cucumbers. We have some strawberries right here, and we have harvested a lot. There are only a few fruits left, and for some reasons there is an animal that has been eating my strawberries. I have put a bird netting over it, so I don't think it is the bird that's eating it. I still have to figure out what it is. Here on the end of this raised bed, earlier this month, I planted some potatoes. So the potatoes are looking good. Once these potatoes are harvested, I'm gonna plant the strawberry runners on here. This one is very amazing. Look at that. This is oregano. I just let it flower because the flowers are so pretty and they smell so good. And this one right here is a tiny thing. This is thyme. And then right next to it is another row of potatoes. Next is my spring garlic. They are small and they have turned yellow already. So I guess it's almost time to harvest them. Now this row right here, I have my experimental potatoes planted in laundry basket that has been covered with cardboard and a black trash bag. I don't really know if I can harvest any from this one, but the other baskets have some good looking potatoes. So hopefully I can get some potatoes from these baskets. I think it would be better to have an irrigation because they dry up so quickly. Unlike these plants that are planted directly in the ground, these potatoes in the laundry basket are a little bit yellow. And then this one is my original herb bed, which is made from a recycled suitcase. And then this is corn. I don't know what kind of corn it is. It's a volunteer corn from something that I threw in the garden last fall. So I'll just let it grow for the intention of having some fall decorations. Next, we have a flag and a couple of plants, a zinnia and a marigold, and my daughter planted some seeds on here as well. Right here we have our bigger herb bed. Now we have some dill in here, so this is dill. We actually have a few, and then some green onions. I put some flowers as well. This is bachelor's button, some cilantro, opal basil, more cilantro in this side, and then some thyme right here, cilantro again, and then we have rosemary, another opal basil. That one's supposed to be an opal basil, but it's turned green. Bachelor's button, another dill plant, and some more bachelor's button. And this one right here is a volunteer sage. Next to my herb bed, we have 2 rows of potatoes. And these potatoes are fixing to produce some flowers, but then I look at it and this is new. This is my first time to see this kind of bugs on my potatoes. I don't know what they are, but one thing for sure, I need to get rid of them. Well, so far these potatoes look good, except for those bugs that are trying to eat them, that I'll have to deal with here in a little bit. Next, we have some fall garlic, and they have started producing some scapes. I heard that the scapes taste good, so I'll probably try to saute them. And then this one is dying. That's a tomato plant. We have some zinnias on here that my son planted, and then a couple of strawberries on here. The tulips and the daffodils have started to die off, so I'll just wait for the leaves to turn brown, and then I'll have to dig them up so I can plant some other things in this bed. Here in the next bed, I have a volunteer peanut plant. This is Malabar spinach. It's new. This one is purple of Sicily cauliflower. This cauliflower is white, and then this one is broccoli. I have a chayote plant on here, and then that spot has watermelon and cantaloupe planted. A couple of days ago, I harvested a head of lettuce. It was so good. More strawberries in here because I had to get rid of some strawberries from the original bed. This one is Brussels sprouts, early cascade tomato, and then we have some kale, lettuce. This is butter crunch lettuce. These are tango leaf lettuce, and then this one is another butter crunch lettuce. Off to the next bed. Looks dry because I have not watered it yet. I'm gonna water it here in a minute, but it'll probably be dark or too dark to be filming if I wait to finish watering. So just go ahead and show you this bed. Half of it is planted with carrots. Look at this. There's yellow, red, and purple carrots in here, and a volunteer peanut plant. Right here, I have planted some cantaloupe and watermelon. And then let's go over to this side. Forgive that dry top of the bed. There's nothing planted on there. But here I have chayote squash that is growing nicely. Next is a bed of snow peas and sweet peas and snap peas all together. This is kind of neglected, but I have been harvesting the peas every morning. I've heard that it's better to harvest them in the morning. They're looking nice and they're so crunchy too. Once you've tasted a homegrown pea, you're not gonna wanna have some peas from the grocery store because these things are so super yummy. The next raised bed is my favorite, like my absolute favorite raised bed because it's so clean, it's mulched, and look at that, zinnia. And this one right here, we have different kinds of tomatoes. These tomatoes were planted in mid-April because this bed had a greenhouse plastic cover that I've already removed, and so it gave me a chance to plant my tomatoes early in the season, which is really great. And I know this morning I have seen some fruits already somewhere in here. I just noticed some aphids in here, so that needs to be taken care of. But still, this is my favorite because this is a very awesome raised bed. I have planted a couple more ginger in here, so there's one ginger inside. And then I always like having marigold because the bugs don't like them. So here's a marigold. All my marigold plants here are volunteer marigold from my garden. I thought this one's gonna die. I just had to tie it because I didn't plant it straight. But then look, it's growing some new buds. And then this is the new ginger that I planted this morning. And then over here we have 2 rows of purple sweet potatoes. Again, it is dry on top, but I swear I watered this morning, but it was like 88 degrees today. So I need to water it again probably. But I mean, end of May and the sweet potatoes are this big already. This is actually not what always happens in here because there are times when it gets really cold and we don't get to plant early, but these ones are looking great. Another zinnia in this corner. I planted a lemongrass, but I don't think it's gonna survive, so I'm gonna have to plant another one. This is another lemongrass on the other side of my garden. It's small. It was planted just a couple of days ago. And then this is squash. I can't remember what it is. Hopefully I can remember what it is because some of these circles don't have anything growing in them yet, and if they don't grow I'll have to replant them. So far I have 2 squash plants that came out from the 9 different squash plants. These are all summer squash in here, the bush type, so I don't have to put a tall trellis, but I will definitely trellis them with the tomato cages. This area has been retailed and I have started cleaning. One corner, we'll be planting some corn today. This is the sweet corn that I will be planting in this spot. And then after this, I have some other corn that I will be planting somewhere in my garden. But sweet corn is my priority because it's my favorite. Right here, I have a grape plant that has grown so big. This needs trellising, I know. Here's another strawberry. Oh, yeah, we have a couple of strawberries here that are already ripe. And then here is another grape plant on the other side of my garden. I hope you enjoyed this little garden tour. I will see you again in my next video.